The Cayman GT4 is a pretty wonderful car. It's won numerous awards and it's been feted with praise by basically anyone that's got behind the wheel. It's fair to say, a 10 out of 10 car. So how do you make an 11 out of 10 car? Sharkwerks thinks they have the answer. So where do you start with making a GT4 better? Well, they've left the suspension alone, which is a very good thing, I think, because there's just no need to touch that at all. It's a truly wonderful car in the corners, as we know. If we were looking for things to change, well, the engine. Obviously it was the Carrera S with a power pack on it, so a 3.8 litre engine, so it's not a sort of bespoke motorsport engine out of the GT department. So perhaps adding some character in there. And the other thing that people always said was the gearing. It's too tall. It's perhaps worth saying that this is a lovely spec GT4 to start with. Not that there are many options you could spec, but it's got the proper carbon back bucket seats that we first saw in the 918 Spider. And it's also got carbon ceramic brakes. You can obviously tell from the yellow brake calipers. So what's Sharkwerks done to the gearbox? Well, you might have thought the obvious thing would just be to stick in a shorter final drive, really, but for all sorts of reasons that may come in the future. But for now, what they've done is change the ratios from third through to fifth. So, interesting, the blip still works, the blip shift, which I think is quite good. So if you go from second, you can hear the very short drop in revs there, so you've actually got quite close to second and third ratios. However, what that does means that on a really tight twisty road you can use first and second predominantly in the sort of that plane of the gearbox, and on a road like this you can use third and fourth, and third becomes much more useful because it's that much closer to second gear and you don't have to do the, as they put it, slightly awkward second and third shift. I never really mind it, I quite like going across the box like that, but I do know what I mean, it is a much quicker shift. Obviously the whole reason for having a dogleg gearbox is a sort of, a slightly odd way of thinking about dogleg gearbox, but I like that. It's slightly quirky and anything like that appeals to me, I suppose. The lightweight flywheel certainly gives the engine a bit more character, saves 7 kilos over the standard flywheel, and they've upgraded the limited diff in the back of this as well. And it sounds absolutely fantastic. The way it revs now, on downshifts particularly, you hear it, just the speed that the revs pick up. It's absolutely glorious. As well as having a very cool name, Sharkwerks is based in Fremont, California, has been providing Porsche tuning for the past 11 years, and mainly focuses on water-cooled 911s. As well as the shorter gearing and lightweight flywheel, this Cayman GT4 also has an uprated limited slip diff, and power is up by an extra 40 brake horsepower, taking the total to a very energetic 420. And of course there are the subtle aero tweaks. The rear wing thrust higher into the air, the small carbon gurney flap beneath it, and the dive planes on the front, all combining to make it look just a little more purposeful. It's probably worth mentioning the road that we're on, which is the incredible California State Route number 2, probably better known as Angeles Crest Highway. They actually used this road in a few films, so the start of Donnie Darko, where he's lying on the road, that was filmed up here. And also, more extraordinarily, The Love Bug, yes, The Love Bug, and Herbie Goes Monte Carlo, the sequel, where they stood in for the French Alps. It's certainly very popular though. We're here on a Sunday and the number of bikes at the petrol station down at the bottom this morning is quite worrying, but because it's 66 miles long, it's quite easy to lose people up here. So has Sharkwerks managed to make an 11 out of 10 car? I think they probably have actually. I was a bit sceptical before I drove this as to how it would feel with just those 3 gears changed and not the full sort of final drive option, but I love it. The light and flywheel, the way the engine revs, and the fact they've left the suspension alone. They haven't tried tinkering that, haven't tried just gilding the lily in areas where it didn't need gilding. What a car. What a road. What a day. Of course, one other thing that these phenomenal roads up in the San Gabriel Mountains seem to do exceptionally well is a spectacular sunset. With the roads now quiet, a huge silver moon rising over the darkening peaks, and cooler evening air feeding the flat six, the run back to the bright lights of Los Angeles feels, well, about as good as it gets. A solid 12 out of 10 in fact.